stop scrolling. What I'm about to tell you will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about modern justice. That brutal medieval punishment you learned about in history class? It's happening right now in 2025. The stoning you read about in ancient books, still completely legal. The public torture you thought ended centuries ago, governments are doing it today as official punishment, while you're sitting safely in your home watching this video somewhere in the world right now. A person is being dragged to face death using methods that would make ancient executioners proud. And here's the most shocking part. It's 100% legal and government sanctioned. I'm about to expose the most disturbing ancient punishment methods that modern, developed countries still actively use in 2025. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll question everything you thought you knew about human rights and civilization. But before we dive into this dark reality, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell because YouTube's algorithm doesn't want you seeing content like this. Seriously, they try to suppress videos that expose uncomfortable truths about the world. Let's start with the most unbelievable one that will absolutely blow your mind. Here's something that will completely shock you. In 2025, people are still being stoned to death as an official government punishment in multiple countries. Yes, you heard that correctly. Human beings are buried up to their necks and then killed by having rocks thrown at them until they die. This isn't happening in some remote, lawless region. We're talking about official government policy in Iran, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan under Taliban rule, Sudan, and parts of Nigeria operating under Sharia law. Just in 2024, Taliban leaders publicly reaffirmed that stoning would be their primary punishment for adultery, with women being specifically targeted. Here's how absolutely horrific this process is. The condemned person is buried in the ground up to their chest or neck, completely unable to move or defend themselves. The stones used are specifically chosen for maximum suffering. Not too small that death takes hours, but not too large that death comes quickly. The goal is prolonged agony. But here's what makes it even more disturbing. Entire communities participate in these killings. Neighbors, local officials, and religious leaders all take turns throwing stones. It's like a community bonding experience centered around slowly torturing someone to death. Iran has carried out confirmed stoning executions as recently as 2020, despite massive international pressure and condemnation. Their government claims these brutal punishments deter crime and maintain social order. But human rights organizations worldwide have documented that they're primarily used to control and terrorize populations, especially women. The victims are overwhelmingly women accused of adultery, often based on questionable evidence or forced confessions obtained through torture. Many are buried deeper than men, making escape impossible, even if they somehow survive the initial assault. What's most mind-blowing is that this is happening in countries with modern technology, social media, and internet access. These same governments tweet about sovereignty and human rights while literally organizing community stone-throwing events to kill their own citizens. Now here's something that will absolutely blow your mind. Singapore, consistently ranked as one of the world's most developed and modern nations, still officially beats people with rattan canes as legal punishment. We're talking about the same Singapore famous for having the world's best airport, incredible technology, and pristine cities. The process is medieval brutality wrapped in modern medical precision. Male prisoners are stripped completely naked and strapped face down to a specially designed wooden frame. A trained officer then strikes them with a 4-foot rattan cane that travels at speeds of up to 160 kilometers per hour. The force is so intense that it literally tears through skin, muscle, and flesh in a single strike. The sound of the cane hitting flesh is so disturbing that witnesses often vomit or faint. Prisoners frequently lose consciousness from the pain, only to be revived by medical staff, so the beating can continue. Malaysia practices the same punishment, and here's something that will shock you even more. They actually removed the age limit for certain crimes like rape. This means a 70-year-old man can be sentenced to caning. The procedure is so brutal and dangerous that medical professionals are required to be present during every session to monitor vital signs and ensure the prisoner doesn't die during the beating. But Indonesia's Aceh province takes this to an even more disturbing level by making it public entertainment. In 2025, two men received 85 lashes, each in front of massive cheering crowds for the crime of being gay. Thousands of people gathered in public squares to watch these men being tortured, treating it like a sporting event or festival. The long-term effects are devastating. Victims carry permanent scars across their backs and buttocks for life. Many develop severe psychological trauma, chronic pain, and some never fully recover physically. Yet these governments defend the practice as effective crime deterrents despite no credible evidence supporting this claim. What makes this even more surreal is that Singapore promotes itself internationally as a progressive, business-friendly nation while simultaneously operating what amounts to a systematic torture program against its own citizens and foreign nationals. This next revelation will make your skin crawl and probably give you nightmares. Several countries in 2025 still cut off people's hands, fingers, and feet as official punishment for theft and other crimes. But here's what makes it even more disturbing. They've modernized this ancient practice with medical precision and specialized equipment. Iran leads the world in judicial amputations and has actually designed and manufactured guillotine machines specifically for cutting off human fingers and hands. In 2022, Amnesty International confirmed that Iranian authorities used one of these devices to amputate the fingers of two men convicted of theft. These aren't rusty medieval axes. These are precision medical instruments designed for maximum efficiency in removing human body parts. Here's what's absolutely terrifying. Iran has carried out a record number of amputations over the past 3 years, and the numbers are increasing, not decreasing. They're not phasing out this practice. They're systematizing and expanding it. Medical professionals are legally required to perform these amputations in sterile hospital conditions, making the whole process feel disturbingly routine and clinical. The process works like this. The condemned person is brought to a medical facility, anesthetized like they're having surgery, and then has their hand or fingers removed using surgical instruments or the specialized guillotine device. They wake up permanently disabled, often unable to work or support their families, which frequently drives them deeper into poverty and desperation. Afghanistan under Taliban rule has brought back public amputations and executions in football stadiums, with thousands of spectators invited to watch. Taliban officials have openly stated that executions and amputations will return to Afghan sports venues, and crowds will be encouraged to attend these events like their entertainment. These aren't empty threats or propaganda. They're actually happening. The Taliban has already carried out multiple public executions and amputations in stadiums across Afghanistan, treating these brutal punishments like public spectacles designed to terrorize the population into submission. Saudi Arabia also practices amputation for theft, though they're more secretive about the process. They've carried out documented hand amputations as recently as 2022, and the practice remains fully legal under their interpretation of Islamic law. Here's something that will absolutely blow your mind. Crucifixion, the punishment most famously associated with Jesus Christ's execution 2,000 years ago, is still practiced today in 2025. Yes, people are still being nailed to crosses and left to die in excruciating agony. Saudi Arabia officially uses crucifixion as punishment for the most serious crimes, though they typically execute the person first by beheading and then crucify the body for public display. But the psychological impact on communities is devastating. Seeing human bodies displayed on crosses serves as a constant reminder of government power and the consequences of disobedience. However, the Philippines takes this to an even more extreme level with voluntary crucifixions during Easter celebrations. Every year, dozens of Filipino men allow themselves to be actually nailed to crosses as religious devotion. These aren't symbolic ceremonies. Real nails are driven through their hands and feet, and they hang on crosses for hours in 100-degree heat. One man named Ruben N.H. has been crucified 33 times as of 2024, returning every year to have nails driven through his hands and feet. Medical professionals are present to treat infections and injuries, but the participants often suffer permanent nerve damage and scar. While these Philippine crucifixions are voluntary religious practices rather than government punishment, they demonstrate that this ancient form of torture is still very much alive in the modern world. The line between religious devotion and self-torture becomes extremely blurred when you're watching someone voluntarily endure one of history's most brutal execution methods. ISIS also used crucifixion extensively during their reign of terror, displaying crucified bodies in public squares throughout their territory. While their official territorial control has ended, splinter groups continue to use crucifixion as both punishment and psychological warfare against local populations. What makes all of these punishments even more disturbing is how many countries turn them into public entertainment spectacles. Oh, we're not just talking about quick, private executions. These are elaborate public events designed to maximize fear and social control. North Korea regularly conducts public executions in stadiums and town squares, forcing entire communities to attend and watch. Children are often required to witness these events as part of their education. The executions are carried out using anti-aircraft guns, firing squads, or other brutal methods designed to completely destroy the human body. Iran conducts public hangings using construction cranes in city centers, with crowds gathering to watch and take photos. These aren't solemn, respectful ceremonies. They're social events where people bring their families and treat the executions like entertainment. But to test, China operates mobile execution vans that travel to crime scenes and carry out lethal injections on the spot. These vans are equipped with restraints, medical equipment, and body storage, essentially turning execution into a mobile service that can be delivered anywhere in the country. The psychological impact of these public spectacles cannot be overstated. Entire populations live in constant fear, knowing that their government not only has the power to kill them, but will turn their deaths into public entertainment for their neighbors and families. There you have it, the shocking reality that medieval torture and execution methods are alive and well in 2025. While most of us live in comfortable bubbles thinking the world has evolved beyond such brutality, millions of people around the globe live under governments that still use stoning, amputation, caning, and crucifixion as official punishment. The most disturbing part isn't just that these practices exist, but that they're often carried out with modern efficiency and medical precision, making them even more horrifying than their ancient predecessors. This is the reality that mainstream media doesn't want to discuss and that social media algorithms try to suppress. But awareness is the first step toward change. When enough people understand what's really happening in the world, international pressure can force governments to evolve. If this video opened your eyes to a reality you didn't know existed, smash that like button and subscribe for more content that exposes uncomfortable truths about our world. Share this with everyone you know because people deserve to understand what's really happening beyond their comfortable bubbles. What shocked you most about today's revelations? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll explore even more shocking realities that the world doesn't want you to know about.